What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're going to be matchmaking every single key fighter after UFC Vegas 84 Walker vs Ankalaev 2. It was a great card, a lot of finishes and a lot of fighters that had impressive performances and that they need to be jumped up in the rankings as a result. Some ranked fighters too that deserve jumps up or even title shots. And then some unranked guys that just got to have some fun fights. There's nothing crazy going on with them, but they still got to matchmake them. So I've got 11 fighters here. Every single person that won a fight at UFC Vegas 84, except for Preston Parsons, because he's the only person that both didn't do much in his fight, didn't have an impressive performance, and also I don't want to rage at, because there's one man on here called Waldo Cortez Acosta that I want to rage at. But apart from that, everyone here plus Johnny Walker as well as the loser of the main event. So let's get started. And the main event winner was Magomed Ankalaev. He got an impressive win against Johnny Walker in the rematch. First round was a bit close, and then second round he caught him bad and dropped him and KO'd him with the follow-up shot. Impressive performance, great win, and he's coming off, apart from that draw with Blachowicz, he's on a big streak. So before that, he's had some really impressive wins. He's done well, beat Anthony Smith, now Johnny Walker. He's got beat Kutalaba in the past. He's got Santos. He's got a lot of wins in the light heavyweight division. So I think, as much as I hate the guy and I was shit talking him on stream and saying he's inbred and saying that he's annoying, which is all still true, he does deserve a title shot. So I'm going to make his next opponent Alex Pereira. Whether that be the next light heavyweight title fight, not sure. Alex Pereira could fight Jamal Hill in the meantime, of course, but Ankalaev's next fight should be for the belt. Let's be honest. Unless the winner of Yuri Prohaska vs Alexander Rakic does something crazy at UFC 300 and steals a title shot if he isn't booked before then, and then he just has to wait again. But I don't see how you make him fight. What's the point in making him fight again? You're just going to get another Ankalaev win against the guy that you want Ankalaev to lose to, and it's just going to be annoying. So you might as well just, if he's going to sit out for ages, he's going to sit out for ages. Who cares? But his next fight should be for the belt. Maybe if Pereira beats Jamal Hill, you do Pereira versus Ankalaev in Abu Dhabi, because if Islam isn't the main event, that would definitely be a main event that you could do. But yeah, I think he deserves it. I hate the guy. He's annoying, but he's not that boring. I know I've been talking about him as a boring fighter. He's not super, super boring, and he's pretty good. So fair play. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev should be next. Whether it's before or after Jamal Hill, he probably deserves the title shot. So we move on to the loser of the main event, and it was Johnny Walker, who got brutally KO'd, as he always does when he loses. There's never a boring loss for Johnny Walker. It's always a goofy KO. But he lost badly. I think he got his nose badly hurt or broken in that fight, because judging after that follow-up shot went bang right up the nose. And he was holding his face, so I think he's got his nose broken badly because it went right up the nose. If you get a palm up the nose, that shit fucking hurts. So he's probably broken his nose badly. So he should take some time off. Whether he take a couple months off for sure. Maybe come back in Brazil if they're doing the Brazil card in May. I think May would be a decent return. 4 months ain't that bad. He wasn't flatline KO'd, and he wasn't brutally beaten up and damaged badly for 5 rounds. So I think he can turn around, and I think the opponent should be Khalil Rountree Jr. in a rematch. These guys fought a while ago, and Johnny Walker KO'd him with some vicious elbows. But Walker's now ranked above him. I think Khalil deserves a jump up after he just smoked Anthony Smith. Walker took Anthony Smith to a decision, so they got a common opponent there. I'd say that's a fight that you could definitely make. Maybe Rountree fights before in the meantime, because I don't really want to see Rountree wait out until May, but this is a fun fight. It's exciting, regardless of whether they've fought before or not. It's still a really exciting fight, so I would like to see it. Khalil Rountree versus Johnny Walker, make it happen in May, maybe in Brazil, maybe even a Fight Night main event. This would probably be an acceptable Apex main event. You could make this happen. I wouldn't mind it, because if you look at Khalil Rountree, who's he meant to fight? Jan Blachowicz is injured, Yuri's fighting Rakic, Jamal Hill's getting a title shot, Ankalaev's not going to fight him. Who else is there? Krylov versus Johnny Walker or Krylov versus Rountree? Neither of those are that appealing, to be honest. And apart from that, there's not really anyone else. I don't think Walker should go too far down the rankings, because I don't think he should drop at all. I don't think he should fight too far down either, because he fought the number 3 guy. It's not like he fought the number 15 guy and lost, so he should go down terribly. Like, I think this is a fun fight. They've already fought, but they're definitely at different points in their career now. So I think this is a great fight. Make it happen in a couple months' time when Walker's nose is recovered. But the next fight to make is Jim Miller, and it's pretty clear. Paul Felder, UFC 300, easy, make it happen. Basically, they just set that up for themselves. Honestly, it would be kind of weird for anything else to happen. I wouldn't complain about some fights happening, of course, but Jim Miller called for it. He said Paul Felder or Matt Brown. I don't think Matt Brown's the fight. He's at welterweight. Jim Miller's not a big lightweight either. He's just chunky, but he's short, and he's not that muscular for the division. So I think welterweight's bad news for him. I think Matt Brown would chin him as well, just because he's so much bigger and more powerful. But Paul Felder, Jim Miller, definitely a great fight to make. Felder was ranked pretty highly during his prime before he retired, so he could definitely... Obviously, the winner of this fight won't get ranked, but if Jim Miller won this fight, that would be a decent win streak, and then he could definitely look towards like a Bobby Green in the rankings. I wouldn't have minded Bobby Green versus Jim Miller for 300. That's definitely solid, but if Felder's coming back, he did a whole fucking post-fight press conference, so I think it would be a waste not to do this. Just make it happen on the prelims of UFC 300. It's a great fight. But the next fight to make is for Mario Bautista. He got an impressive decision over Ricky Simón. Really turned up the volume in the later rounds and cooked him up. Was almost close to a finish in the third round, just out-cardioed Simón and put the pressure on him. Incredible performance. He should now be ranked number 13, I believe. And so he called a name. I'm inclined to give it to him. Rob Font versus Mario Bautista. I think that's a great fight to make. Striking in that would be great. Bautista would definitely mix in some takedowns too, but I think this would be contested. Mostly on the feet. Font's boxing is great. He got outstruck by Figgy, but Figgy's a great striker, so I could see Bautista winning this with the takedowns. I could see Rob Font winning this if he just tunes him up with the boxing. But still, I think this is a great fight. I think both these guys are from Boston. I know Font is. But yeah, I think you make this fight happen. If they're going back to Boston, you could do it in Boston. If not, you do it on like any one of those pay-per-views that are in that area. So I say you do that. Great fight to make. It would be super exciting. And Batista deserves a jump up, and Font probably has to fight down after his loss. He's on a 2-fight loss streak, so he's got to fight down. The next fighter that we have to match make for is Bruno Ferreira. He got a brutal first round KO against Phil No Chin Hawes, Phil Sleepy Boy Hawes. And yeah, impressive win, great performance. He called out Shara Magomedov, and in the moment I was like, great fight, great call out, good stuff, make it happen. But I want to make an element of realism to these. I know I'm going to contradict myself with that statement in a couple fights' time, but still, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Shara's going to fight on the Saudi Arabia card, and I think Ferreira should get back in there in Brazil in May, 4 months later. He didn't take really any damage, so you could get back in there earlier, but 4 months, Brazil, get him in Brazil. Last time he was in Brazil, he KO'd Robocop, and now he's KO'd Phil Hawes, who, although he has no chin, look at the guys Phil Hawes has lost to. Chris Curtis, Roman Dolidze, Ikram Alaskarov, and now Bruno Ferreira. There's no bad fighters there. Chris Curtis ain't the best, but Ikram's a future prospect that everyone's got their eye on. Dolidze's a great fighter who's currently ranked top 10. So I don't think it's a terrible loss for Hawes. I mean, it's bad in terms of how it happened, but it's actually an impressive win on your resume for Bruno Ferreira, who's now KO'd Robocop and Phil Hawes, who are both great fighters. He got chinned by Ruziboev, but Ruziboev was pretty fucking good, and that's clear. So yeah, I think Bruno Ferreira in Brazil, and I think you make him fight Brad Tavares. I think this is a great fight to make. Brad Tavares, as I said, Shara, great fight. I wouldn't mind it. I would love that fight, but I don't see Shara going to Brazil, and I would like to see this guy in Brazil. Because if they're going to make that card good, they really got to get some of the better fighters on there. I don't want no fucking Eduardo Moore. I don't want no fucking... Who was on there the first time? Like, they had some dead fighters. So, like, let's get some actual exciting fighters. The Bonfim Bros kind of vibe. Like, Ferreira. Get the same guys that were on there last time. So, in January. So, this is a great fight. Tavares versus Bruno Ferreira. Tavares got KO'd by Bruno Silva. And originally my matchup was going to be Ferreira versus Silva. But then I realized they were mates, because in his post-fight interview he mentioned that he wanted them to both be on UFC 300. On UFC Brazil. So yeah, I was going to do Silva, but instead I'll go with the guy that Silva finished. So these guys both, stylistically, I think this matches up really well. This would be a really fun boxing fight in my eyes. these two would just trade on the feet. Tavares has a pretty solid chin too. He's the only guy that Dricus du Plessis hasn't finished, and Ferreira's got a fucking thunderous punching power. So I think you make this fight happen. I think this would be an exciting matchup. So yeah, we move on though to the next fighter. Waldo Cortez Acosta. You fucking idiot. I hate you so much. You suck at fighting. You are not good. You're not entertaining. And you danced in the middle of your fight against a 44-year-old Andrei Arlovski. Meanwhile, you did fuck all and could have lost the fight arguably, except for a few flurries that you got a little bit of exchanges going against Andrei Arlovski, who is literally old enough to be my grandpa. You fucking idiots. I hate you so much and you suck at fighting and you're boring as shit. But as such, I think he deserves a top 5 opponent, and I think the fight to make is Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. I've done everyone a favour. I've committed the best piece of matchmaking ever. Make it happen. Waldo Cortez Acosta, since he's showboating so much, is clearly so confident in his abilities. He's able to absolutely school Andrei Arlovski with ease. So I think he's clearly top 5 caliber. I think Sergey Pavlovich is the perfect guy to test that. Acosta's coming off multiple wins. Pavlovich is coming off a loss, so he should be able to win this fight easily. How could he lose to Sergey Pavlovich? He's coming off a win. He's beat a former champion. How many former champions has Pavlovich beat? None. But guess what? Acosta has beat a former champion. So on paper, he's better than Pavlovich. I think you make this fight next. It will be a great fight, and Sergey Pavlovich can KO him brutally in the first round so we can get this fucking guy out of here because he's annoying. But all jokes aside, I'm putting this on the screen, but the matchup I would make would be Derek Lewis or Rebelis de Spain, the Cuban guy. Get this fucking guy KO'd again by an unranked fighter. But if he's going to go up in the rankings, fight Derek Lewis, you'll get chinned, but at least it's a ranked opponent, and it's somewhat justifiable. Even though you're shit, at least you're winning fights, even the worst way possible. And Derek Lewis, coming off a loss, just give him another can, chuck him on the headline prelims of a pay-per-view, he'll get an easy KO, and he'll light the crowd on fire. So yeah, make Derek Lewis versus Acosta, or if Rebelis de Spain smokes Josh Parisian in 20 seconds, which he should, then you can do Rebelis de Spain versus Acosta. I think that's a great fight, because I want to see this guy get brutally chinned in the first fucking round. I hate him. But if you didn't watch my live stream, me and my chat were just having jokes the whole time, talking about different historical events that Andrei Arlovski was present for. Like, that man's ancient. So yeah, go back and watch that stream. It's like 4.5 hours, but an absolute legend, time-stamped the beginning of the discussion. So if you go to the top comments, I've pinned it. Someone time-stamped when we all started talking about Andrei Arlovski and the historical events that he's been present for. So go back and rewatch that. It was a great time, and it made up for the awful action that took place in this fight, thanks to this fat fuck. But we move on to the next fight, and it is Marcus McGee. He had an impressive win. Got a KO over Gaston Bolaños in the second round. His boxing looked crisp as fuck. And you want to know someone else who has some pretty crisp boxing? Adrian Yanez. I think that would be a great fight to make. Yanez coming off a loss to Jonathan Martinez and a loss to Rob Font before that. So he's coming off 2 losses. I think he's not ranked anymore, but I think he's just outside and he was ranked. So he's got to defend his position. He's got to fight down. And I think this will be a stylistically great matchup. McGee could mix in some takedowns, but I think this will be considered consistent of mostly boxing exchanges, and they would be great to watch. So, yes or no, this is an amazing fight. I've just done a great job here. Marcus McGee versus Adrian Yanez is the fight to make. It will be incredible fight, great stuff. Chuck it as like an Apex fight night, like feature fight, not the co-main of it could be co-main of a weak Apex card, but I'd say co-main of feature fight of an Apex card would be pretty fun, or prelims of a pay-per-view, or fight night main card. Like open the main card of a fight night in like Texas or something, like Yanez from Texas, I think. Or do it anywhere, because these two would be a great fight. So probably don't do it in the Apex, do it in a crowd. This would be a great fight. But the next fight that needs to be made is for Farid Basharat. He got an impressive win over, who did he win? Taylor Lapulus. He dominated him for 3 rounds with the grappling. Not entertaining, not super fun, but he did it flawlessly, and that's how these guys fight. They don't dominate you, they don't smoke you or finish you, they just win 30-27, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you can't really say, oh, they're not finishing unranked guys, they're not that good. Like, yeah, but they're not having any trouble with it, and they're just taking them down, and that's their style. It's inbred style, it's the Cliff Dweller style, but it is what it is. So Farid Basharat, although I don't like him that much and he's not fun, I think he's high level, so I think you test that and you give him a guy that's coming off a loss, and he lost via wrestling, and he's also ranked. I'm talking about Chris Gutierrez. I think this is the fight to make. I don't think they will do it, probably. I think they're going to make Basharat fight a few more times before he gets ranked, but fuck it. Turn this around on the Saudi Arabia card, almost. Like, probably couldn't, because he 3 rounds probably doesn't want to turn around in 2 months, but I wouldn't mind this on the Saudi card. If not, just do it on like another Apex fight night. Gutierrez versus Basharat. This could be, again, feature fight of a fight night of an Apex card. Gutierrez needs to defend his ranking. He had an awful performance in his last fight against Song Yadong. He needs to fight down. There's no way he can fight a ranked guy next. So, Chris Gutierrez, defend your ranking. Show that your wrestling's actually decent, because he looked terrible against Song Yadong. And yeah, offer up your spot to a guy and see if you can turn him back, or if not, then tough luck. So that's the fight to make. But we move on to another fighter, and I've got Nicholas Motta. He got an impressive KO over Tom Nolan in basically just a minute. Fraud checked him, KO'd him badly, and saved his UFC career. He's low ranked in the lightweight division, so I'm not talking about no big jump up, because you can't say, oh look, he just came in as a big underdog against some highly ranked guy that he was meant to lose to. Like, Tom Nolan was making his debut, so he's not even ranked in the UFC rankings at all, in like the top 50. So I say you do Nicholas Motta versus Trevor Peek is the fight to make. Both guys got wicked KO power. Both guys are kind of short, stocky. They both swing hands a lot. And they both have a lot of power. As I said, this would be a great fight to make. Put it on a prelims of a fight night in an arena. This would definitely be a fight of the night contender and be an incredible scrap. I think Trevor Peek would win, because I don't rate Motta that highly, even though he got this KO. But yeah, this would be fun as fuck. They would just swing leather. If you look at Trevor Peek's fight with Chepe Mariscal, that was ridiculously fun, and that was on the prelims of an Apex of a fight night. Sorry, just light the crowd up. You could even open up, make this the curtain jerker for an arena fight night. Just the early prelim opener. Make it happen, get the guys in there early, and get the crowd alight early, and set the momentum for a fight night. So I think this is a great fight to make. It would be an absolute banger. And yeah, they're similar-ish spots in the rankings, so I don't mind it. But we move on to another fighter, and it's Joshua Van. He got a really impressive finish over, who did he fight? Felipe Boons. He got an impressive win. That makes 3-0 now in the UFC in the space of how long? 6 months, because he debuted in June. He then fought in November, and now he's fighting in January. He said he wants to be active. He said he wants to fight 6 times this year. I'm all for it. Make it happen. This is how you build stars. Let this guy fight. I think he deserves a ranked guy. Will he get it? Probably not, but I would like to see it. And the ranked guy that I'm going to offer is not unrealistic to make. So I'm saying Joshua Van versus David Dvorak on the prelims of a pay-per-view in the next couple months. Do it on the prelims of, even chuck this on $2.99. I wouldn't mind. Or even just an arena fight night. You could do it in the Apex co-main event. I think this is suitable for an Apex co-main event. Give Josh Van a spotlight, man. He's a great fighter. He looked super impressive. He dropped the first round to Boons, but that's how he fights. He dropped the first round to Borjas too. Dropped it to Zhuga Magulov. I butchered that name. But then he just turns it up in the second and third, and he really puts the volume on. So Josh Van looks incredible. I think it's just test him. Dvorak's not a super highly ranked guy. He's number 14. And yeah, 3-0 in the UFC. Give him a jump up. He's beating solid competition. Dvorak hasn't beat anyone in ages. He lost to Steve Erceg on short notice. So I say do this fight, Apex card, or fight night main card, or pay-per-view prelims. I love this fight. I think it would be sick, and I think Josh Van would win, and it would be a great striking fight, because Dvorak doesn't really shoot takedowns a lot. So great fight to make. But the next fight to make is what's his name? Gene Silva, the autism guy, versus who I'm going to matchmake him against, which I'll tell you in a second. But Gene Silva got a fucking amazing KO, beat up Weston Wilson, just cooked him up, absolutely pieced him up and battered him brutally, and then had probably one of the weirdest and funniest post-fight interviews in ever. He didn't say anything negative, he didn't swear at anyone, he didn't drop any fag words, if you know what I'm saying. Didn't badmouth anyone, none of that. He just acted extremely autistic. He barked at the microphone. He put his glasses on the translator. He gave us a replay demonstration of what happened and said that he trained it. He then uttered one other sentence and said nothing else. Incredible win, and I say you do him versus Jekka Saragi, who's a guy that's coming off a fun KO in his last fight against Lucas Alexander. So I say you do this fight. Silva should beat him and crush him because Saragui's not that good. He got a kind of a fluky KO. But Saragui's got some personality, I guess. He did a little fun dance after his thing. He wears a cool hat. Just two odd little guys, two autism children. So we make this fight happen. I think it would be a really fun matchup. But those are all the fights to make for UFC Vegas 84, Walker vs Ankalaev. I've match made for 11 fighters here. I've delivered fights that both make sense and are very entertaining. So let me know which fights you guys want to make in the comments. We're going to be back with some more videos coming for 297 Fight Week. I've got the predictions coming for 297, and then I'm going to do a Sean Strickland's mini documentary, which is going to be fun. I got to start on that pretty soon. And I'll do press conference reaction, obviously full card recap afterwards. I won't be streaming, unfortunately, but I got still content coming through. So keep it locked in on the channel. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. Follow my Patreon to support the channel. Follow my Instagram, Left Lane MMA. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.